What are you going to do? Yes, you. What are you going to do about the disturbing issue of domestic violence? October is commemorated as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and in today's program, we'll be offering you some practical solutions. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome. In today's Jamaica magazine, enough is enough. Get some vital information about the issue of domestic violence and how you can start defending yourself. We also hear public feedback on the issue. Plus, how do we get our children to understand gender equality? Get some important tips today. Stay with us as we start things off with this very important message, then the news.
Chikungunya is a viral infection transmitted when an Aedes aegypti mosquito bites an infected person and then bites someone else. Symptoms include high fever, headache, joint pain, muscle pain, and rash. If you suspect that you've been infected, take paracetamol such as Panadol, Cetamol, and Tylenol. Infants, children under 5 years old, pregnant women, the elderly, persons with sickle cell, and chronic illnesses such as diabetes and cardiovascular disease are at risk for more severe symptoms and must see a doctor for proper evaluation and monitoring. Fortunately, most cases of CHIKV are mild, but if your symptoms worsen, you need to see a doctor. For more info, call 1-888-1-LOVE from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. That number again, 1-888-663-5683. Good day, I'm Stacey Ann Smith, and this is your GIS News for Tuesday, October 14. As the government continues its drive to control and contain the spread of the chikungunya virus, Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson is again urging Jamaicans to get actively involved in the national effort.
The question of personal responsibility relative to our citizens, combined with the government leading the process, is the only way that we'll be able to allow for this CHIKV or dengue to peak early, and therefore will prevent a number of citizens from having it.
On the weekend, the minister participated in the second in a series of community cleanup activities in Eastern and Western St. Thomas. Dr. Ferguson led a team of medical and public health personnel conducting door-to-door sensitization programs and mobilizing community members in their cleanup activities. And Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has continued to push all aspects of the national response to the chikungunya outbreak. Mrs. Simpson Miller met with members of Parliament at Jamaica House Tuesday to update them on the mechanisms in place to handle CHIKV and the country's state of readiness to deal with possible cases of the Ebola virus.
This is not a task for government alone, and I'm very pleased and want to thank the members of the opposition who are here. This is a national effort. All of us can be affected. It can impact the country in a serious way. And so it is about the unity, all of us united, one cause for the nation. Where Ebola is concerned, we simply cannot afford any divisiveness of any kind. We need to be speaking with one voice on this matter. Ebola is no respecter of person, of color, or of class.
The meeting was held ahead of Wednesday's start of the National Cleanup Campaign, which is to run through to October 22. In other news, government remains convinced of the value of public-private partnerships to build the country, and in that vein, the Prime Minister is urging more businesses to get involved in community building.
I'd like to impress on other business operators to do likewise, to invest in the communities surrounding their businesses.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the recent opening of Red Stripe's dual heat and power plant, where she reaffirmed her commitment to job creation and economic growth.
The government is focused on getting Jamaicans working. We're focused on the task of expanding business activity and creating jobs. In this mission, we cannot afford to be derailed by any forces, whether those forces are social, cultural, economic, or political.
In the meantime, members of the Jamaican diaspora are being encouraged to invest in the local stock market to drive economic growth. Chairman of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Alan Lewis, made the point that technology now makes it easy for Jamaicans abroad to participate.
The beauty of the stock market or the stock exchange in Jamaica today, with technology, you don't have to physically come to Jamaica to do so. You can stay in New York, Florida, China, wherever you are, and make that investment. And the more and more persons who do that, the better we believe Jamaica will become.
The JSE's Deputy General Manager Robin Levy added that with confidence being restored in the Jamaican economy, now is the time for individuals to invest. He said even at the height of the global recession, the JSE remained profitable.
Companies raised over $12.2 billion on the floor of the Jamaica Stock Exchange to either retire debt, expand their facilities, go into export, all the things that drive Jamaica's economy.
The JSE executives were speaking at a recent GIS think tank. Thousands of residents of Portmore in St. Catherine can expect to find jobs as a new business processing outsourcing facility is built in that city. An agreement for the construction of the 40,000 square foot facility was signed recently between the University College of the Caribbean UCC and Portmore Holdings Limited. The project is worth $6 million. In lauding the partnership, Science, Technology, Energy and Mining Minister Philip Polwell said the project was in line with government's strategic priority to facilitate job creation and economic growth.
I want to commend all the partners. This is indeed historic, and it shows that for Jamaica to go forward, it is going to require not only government, not only the learning institutions, it's going to require our business people, our financial institutions, everybody to push in one direction, because the world out there has opportunities that Jamaica can suitably meet.
And finally, work is now far advanced to rehabilitate roads damaged by floods in St. Mary in January this year. During a tour of roads in the parish, State Minister in the Ministry of Transport, Works and Housing, Richard Azan, said he was happy with the progress being made.
All of them is not completed as yet, but one of them that I'm quite impressed about is the one at Arakabesa to this mountain. That when we visited the last time, there was a lot of complaint, and today we are seeing more brighter face, more smile and all of that.
The Three Hills Road to Prospects and Charlestown to Retreat roads are among those fixed so far. The National Works Agency is also carrying out spray patching work on the Gale to Cascade Main Road in the parish. Plans are also in place to address roads in Mason Hall, where work is expected to start shortly. The $143 million project is being financed under the Road Maintenance Fund. And that's it for GIS News Today. I'm Stacey Ann Smith. Thank you for watching.
Family,
school,
church,
community.
all important agents of change in our society.
They influence what we think about ourselves, our surroundings, and how we see the roles of males and females.
Let's all work together for equality for all Jamaicans.
Let's make Jamaica a place where both males and females have equal access to a good education, good jobs, the best healthcare, and opportunities for the good of the country.
Males and females are different, but it doesn't mean they're not equal.
Let's build a Jamaica that doesn't discriminate. Become an agent of change.
Him lick me cause him love me. Or, I'd leave but I have to consider the kids. I've heard those comments before, and I'm sure so have you when it comes to this unfortunately age-old issue of domestic violence. Yes, women are more often the victims, but so too are men. The government undertook a program some time ago to create discussion and offer practical solutions for those who are victimized. Watch keenly.
don't raise the voice up for me in the house, you know. Come and fling your time, no girl. Remember your scandal about ever. Shut your mouth, you know. When man talk, don't open your mouth.
Has your partner ever hit, slapped or pushed you? Threatened to hurt or kill you, your children or friends? Called you names, made you feel ashamed and humiliated, forced you to have sex when you didn't want to? Spousal abuse, family violence, wife beating. Domestic violence by any name is a crime that's all too prevalent in Jamaica. It manifests itself between people who are married or living together, those who have an ongoing or prior intimate relationship, or couples who have children together. The abuse can be physical, psychological, verbal, sexual, or all of the above.
A survey was done on our behalf last year by a research company, and they found that 51% of the respondents, of Jamaicans, believe that domestic violence is widespread in the society.
Just as abusers come from all economic and academic realities, so too do victims. Physically and psychologically bullied into believing they can't change their present conditions, many women get trapped in the cycle of abuse, sometimes transferring the abuse onto others around them.
Just give me this man. Come on, tell you.
A number of things can contribute to a victim staying in an abusive relationship. Fear of the partner's action, depression and other effects of the abuse, feeling isolated and cut off from help, and economic dependency. If these persons can't find a way to break away, the cost can be the ultimate: death.
One study in North America found that children who were exposed to violence in the home were 15 times more likely to be physically and or sexually assaulted than the national average. This link has been confirmed around the world.
Domestic violence damages the prospects for economic and social development in every country, not just the lives of the victims. Abuse affects children's performance in school and therefore their future productivity and the returns on national investments in schooling.
In 2000, the Jamaica Constabulary Force launched a program to respond to a need for increased focus on the issue of domestic violence. It stemmed from a view that across the Caribbean, domestic violence was being largely ignored by those to whom people go for support.
And so a program was developed in association with the commissioners of the forces in the region and some other partners such as CAFRA and IDB.
The program ran for 4 years but was suspended due to budgetary and other issues. After nearly 6 years, it has been relaunched, and in November 2010, the JCF's Strategic Review Implementation Team put on one of several domestic violence intervention workshops at the Denham Town Community Center.
Our objective is to get you as frontline responders to recognize that first and foremost, domestic violence is a crime. It damages not just the victims, but the society on a whole.
The workshops are attended by police officers, social workers, and a range of community responders. Over 2 days, these first responders are given the tools to recognize the dynamics of domestic violence, the cycle of abuse, and some of the cultural reasons that might account for the high incidence of domestic violence, as well as the cost and victim-friendly responses.
What can we do to help those who come to us for aid? Should we get fed up and frustrated because they keep repeating this apparent endless cycle of reporting and withdrawing, reporting and withdrawing? If we understand why that happens, I am certain that we will show greater empathy and support for those who are victimized. We want to create a network of support for each other as we try to create safer communities.
If you are a victim of domestic abuse, begin to think about how you can plan for your own safety and happiness. If you are an abuser, get help to end your violent behavior. If you are a friend or family member, encourage the victim to get to safety. Don't accept excuses for violence from people you love.
Communities can't be safe if homes are not safe. Communities can't be safe if children are not safe. The country cannot become a better country economically and socially if the homes continue to provide damage to children.
When criminals disagree, they seek revenge. Murder, arson, rape, whatever causes terrible suffering. It doesn't matter who gets hurt. Women, children, and the elderly, they are the main targets. Don't support the criminals. Don't cover up for them. Don't take their money. Take a stand now for the right of our women and children to be free from fear and abuse. Silence brings violence.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
So based on the previous feature, you'd have realized that the issue of domestic violence is often complicated. It's often linked to psychological issues being experienced by both the abuser and victim. And that's why we often hear abused persons express that they don't want to leave the abuser. So if you know someone who is being abused, what would you do?
All them have to do, is just find somebody else. Simple.
First thing I would do is to advise that person or persons to seek advice from many persons, including mediation group. They could go to their minister of religion. They could go to the police if necessary, or there may be some older persons in the community who they could speak with. And if it does not work out, then I think separation for a period of time.
Just to get out of the abusive situation and be careful next time choosing a relationship.
Get out of that relationship immediately, run away.
Very interesting responses. Remember, you can call the Bureau of Women's Affairs, the Dispute Resolution Foundation, and the police if you need help.
Hey! Hey you! Me? Yes you! Are you between the ages of 9 to 12, attending a primary or prep school? Do you want to go on a treasure hunt? No. You don't need to go that far. Our island home has a lot of hidden treasures, and this is your opportunity to explore.
The Jamaica Information Service Heritage Essay Competition is here again for its 4th staging. Your challenge is to type a 400 to 500 word essay on which national heritage site is most significant and why.
So gear up, boot up that computer, and start trekking.
You need to download the application form online at jis.gov.jm. For more information on what you need to complete your exploration, call 926-359-024, extension 2137 or 2133. Your journey should be completed by Friday, October 31. The typed essay should be submitted online via the entry form on the JIS website at jis.gov.jm.
Last Tuesday, we started our weekly highlight of our brave and strong breast cancer survivors as we encourage more women and men to be proactive this Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Today, we salute another survivor.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer in March 2010. My daughter was 1 year old at the time, and my doctors recommended that a mastectomy was the best way to go based on the tumor that I was diagnosed with and how it had spread in my breast. My husband and I decided that we would go with the doctor's recommendation, and the mastectomy was done on April 4th, 2010. After mastectomy, once again based on the tumor that I had, I was encouraged to do chemotherapy, and I had to do 6 treatments of chemotherapy. And after chemotherapy, once again, based on the tumor that I had to go on another drug called Herceptin, and that I had to do for 13 months. Herceptin is administered just like chemotherapy, intravenously. My support system was excellent, and I really hope that other people who have been diagnosed with breast cancer would actually be blessed with the support system that I had. For example, my husband was phenomenal, and my husband would go to my chemotherapy sessions with me. He would hold my hand and he would sit through chemotherapy with me, and chemotherapy was on average 2 hours. I'm always happy to share my story. I have never felt less than a woman. In fact, I have decided not to do reconstructive surgery. For me, it gives me an opportunity to allow other people to understand that, 1, your life has not changed at all. Your breast, your body part does not define who you are. Very importantly, that it is not a death sentence. It's a disease like many other diseases that we're going through and that we have to fight. Very importantly, we have to understand that our health, that our life, that our healing comes from above. And this is something that we have to ask our Lord, who is our creator, and who our ultimate healing comes from. We have to put this to him. We have to trust that our healing comes from him. Secondly, you have to listen to the advice of your doctors. I believe that we have excellent health care in Jamaica. I believe that we have some of the best doctors here. And for the treatment that I have received, I wouldn't have exchanged it for anywhere else. And so listen to the advice of your doctors. Do what your doctors ask you to do. Do not listen to people who have never even experienced cancer, because people who have never had cancer have a tendency to offer advice for cancer treatment. So listen to your doctors. And just don't be afraid. It is what it is. You have to accept it is what it is, and you have to do what you have to do to get through it. It's not the end of the world, and it is not anything to be scared of.
It's time for us to get it right. Equal rights and justice for our men and women. Equality. A message from the Bureau of Gender Affairs and Dispute Resolution Foundation, paid for by the UN Women Fund for Gender Equality.
A society in which males and females have equal access to opportunities, resources, protection, and most important, contribute to national development. That's the vision of the National Policy for Gender Equality. We want to ensure that we empower our boys and girls to be the best versions of themselves, placing no limit on what they can achieve. If we adults want to transform our society, we have to be the change we want to see in the world. And that transformation starts in the home.
Washing up, boys and girls can wash up the plates. They can alternate. Hanging the clothes on the line or taking them off the line, boys and girls can do that. Sweeping the house or cleaning the house, boys and girls can do that. Making up your bed when you come out of it, boys and girls can do that. Remembering to hang up your towel on the towel rail, whether you're a boy or girl, you can do that. Now, because we're talking about gender equality, we're not talking about gender identicality, right? If I may coin a word. So it's not about boys and girls being identical. So let us say that I am a girl, but I love animals. So I would like to be the one who takes care of the dogs. Then that's fine. It may be that the boy, he may love cooking. Well, certainly, why shouldn't he do the cooking? So I think while the main thing is make sure they are engaged, you know, and one is not allowed to do nothing while the other one does everything.
Remember, you're teaching your child lessons for life, so ensure that they are learning the right things.
My mother taught me how to work for what I want. And if you don't work for it, then you don't deserve it.
They always tell me, be yourself. Don't try to be like others.
They help me through tough times, good time, bad time, they're always there for me.
Once the family is good, teach the children the right things, then them can grow up on the right.
Awareness should be the first step towards action, not the last. It's the means to an end, not the end in itself. Do bear that in mind as we encourage you not to turn a blind eye to domestic violence. Together, we can make a difference in our homes and communities. If you liked today's program or want further information, send us an email, jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm. You can also contact us by social media on Facebook and Twitter. On behalf of the hard-working team here at the JIS, I am Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.